This is music, and this is the 2025 cassette tag. Apologies to Nasty Boy Scott from the No Solution channel here on YouTube for my lame thumbnail. I will make it up to you in this video, I promise. But yeah, it's time for the 2025 cassette tag. This time, the tag was started by Two from the Trunk, a channel here on YouTube, a vinyl community channel, and I guess a cassette community channel. So go and check it out. He has 6 questions for us, plus 2 bonus ones. That's 8 questions altogether. And then I've took the liberty of adding 2 questions, so we're up to 10. I hope that's okay. I love cassette tapes, so obviously I want to jump on this thread. So let's get down to business. The first question is, why do you still collect cassettes? To me, it's not a matter of still collecting cassettes. I had them when I was a kid. I had a bunch of cassettes, but I didn't see them as collectibles. I would not treat them as such, and I would play the hell out of them, and they would fall apart, and I would record on even pre-recorded tapes and whatever. It was only more recently I started looking at it as collecting cassette tapes. But I was lucky enough that I'm of a certain generation that in musically my formative years, there were 3 major physical music media, and we didn't have digital music media. But one of them was the cassette tape. You got the vinyl records, and you had the CD as well. And back then, to me, the cassette tape was the most accessible one. I had vinyl records, I had CDs too, but the cassette tape was the most accessible one and the most portable one. And so it was my main physical music medium. We could buy dub tapes relatively cheap, and we could, borrow CDs and records from each other. We could go to the music library and, you know, borrow other cassettes as well, and CDs and vinyl, and we could record them onto our dub tapes, and that way have, you know, fairly fairly cheap music. So that's pretty cool. So one reason is nostalgia, basically nostalgia. But another reason, which is more practical, is that out of the 3 physical music media that I collect today, CDs, vinyl, and cassettes, the cassette tape is by far the cheapest. So that means that I actually buy a lot of new music on cassette tape because it's cheap, and I like it that way, and I listen to my cassettes. So yeah, that's the first question. The second question is, show your favorite artist or band on cassette. I can do that. My favorite band of all time is Iron Maiden. This one is Edward the Great. This is very cool. It's a cassette tape from the Middle Eastern and Asian market. And this one was given to me by none other than the legend that is Garage Geek. So yeah, great. I enjoy listening to this one for sure. Show, question 3, show your best sounding cassette. Oh, so now we're getting into audiophile territory. All the audiophile discourse makes no sense to me at all. It means nothing. But with the cassette tape, it's probably the medium where it's the easiest for me to tell whether it sounds good or bad. Um, this one here sounds pretty good. Ugly Kid Joe, America's Least Wanted. I don't know if it's the best sounding cassette tape I have, but for a cassette tape from back in the day, it sounds really good. So that's the one I'm gonna pick. Uh, show your biggest cassette find. Now there are lots of different ways to interpret that. Could be the cheapest cassette. It could be a rare one you found in the wild, or I guess it could be some cassette you basically found literally. I'm gonna show this one here. It belongs to the rare category, I think. Sorcerer, their demo tape. Uh, and this is an original copy of the demo tape. Legendary epic doom metal. Excellent stuff. I'm glad I found it on cassette tape. It's really good. I think it has been reissued on vinyl and CD as well, but it's really cool to have this one. I found it online, didn't even find it in the wild. So there you go. Up next, show a mixtape. Now, although I did make mixtapes back in the day, I don't have any mixtape here. I think I still have some mixtapes left, but they are in a barn, literally, in my parents' place. So I'm going to show you a compilation instead. Surfing USA, a compilation of surf rock. Good fun. Also courtesy of the legend that is Garage Geek. Up next, show your best live cassette. And this is where I'm going to make things up to Nasty Boy Scott. Marillion, Thieving Magpie, or The Thieving Magpie. This also sounds great, and look at the spool on here. You have so much music, and Marillion, fantastic progressive rock band. And this is probably my best live cassette, but my coolest live cassette is this one here. Pretty Mates, Red Hot and Heavy, Aga, live 2020. I almost said 2029. 2009. This one was recorded, it's an official bootleg. It was recorded at the Heavy Aga Festival, which is a heavy metal festival in a small village on the west coast of Denmark. And this one was recorded, I think, just in the audience. It's really raw, very underground sounding, and is really cool. I found this one in the wild at a record shop called Mephisto. And seventh question, show a cassette box set. I'll show you this one here. Grave, this is the classic album collection. So it's a legendary Swedish death metal band. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, they're still sealed. That doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to them. It just means I haven't had the chance yet. But yeah, legendary death metal band and a really cool box set, which I will listen to for sure. Now, my two bonus, no, first of all, there's an eighth question. Show a portable cassette player. There you go. We are Rewind. I've shown this a couple of times. It's a new one. It sounds great. I'm really happy about it. Now, my two added questions. The first one is a two-parter. Show a cassette tape with interesting packaging. So this can be a cool J card. It can be a cool, basically cassette case. It can be like the Cryptic Blood cassettes. It's basically an artwork on its own. So that's the first part of it. The second part is show a cassette with a cool shell. So we're looking at aesthetics here. So for the first part of this two-part question, I'm going to go with this one here. Orm Intet Altet Danish black metal band. It comes in this cardboard thing, which I think is just an interesting packaging. You can unfold it, and when you unfold it, basically you have this aesthetically pleasing, I think it's called a Maltese cross fold out or something like that. It just looks cool. Uh, the cassette looks like this, or the shell looks like this, and it's pretty cool too. But yeah, so Orm, Intet, Altet, Danish, black metal, interesting packaging. And for the second part of this two-part question, I'm going to show you the shell of this High Warden Land of Stone tape. It's very simple, but it's really cool. It has this print on it. Doom Metal, this is a Dying Victims Productions cassette. And I just like that you got this tower on here. It just looks cool. So that's a cool shell there. So there you go. And the last question, my added question is show a cassette tape that is special to you, that means something to you. Maybe you have a personal history with it. Maybe someone special gave it to you. Maybe someone special performs on it. Maybe you perform on it. Uh, the cassette tape I'm going to show is this one here, Iron Maiden Killers. This was the second music cassette tape I ever bought for my own allowance money. The first one was also Iron Maiden. It was Somewhere in Time. I don't have that one, but this was the very second cassette tape I ever bought. And as you can see, it is pretty worn down. You can't even see the print on it anymore, and it barely plays. But this was an important part in my formative years of my musical journey. And I had hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of listening to this and just having a great time. So there you go. This was my contribution to the 2025 cassette tag. If it sounds like fun to you, why not make your own video? Thanks for watching.